gender, sexual orientation, identity, or any other trait. And we feel the human experience is better when it's shared. We are so pleased to have you with us today and are glad that you chose to come out and join us. For those of you who are here today, did anyone come recently for the first time because of a recent Pride event? Couple here in the back. Excellent, thank you. So glad to have you joining us. We have another Pride announcement here in a little bit. We do center around 5 core values. People are more important than beliefs. Reality is known through reason. Human hands solve human problems. Meaning comes from making a difference. Be accepting and be accepted. And you know what? I did not introduce myself. I'm Julie Manning, for those of you who don't know me. You guys are all like, oh, I know her. I don't need to introduce myself. Sorry about that. We have our program today is going to be so fun. We have our featured speaker will be Engel, Reflections of a Liberal Pastor. Our musician is Julia Wildstar, and our community moment is Justin. So we are going to get straight into our musician. Julia, if you want to go ahead and get your stuff prepared, I'm going to read a little intro on Miss Julia. I did tell her, guys, you guys know we collect Julies here. She gets to join the Julie team, so yes. Julia's dream is to be the epitome of expression, art, drama, and much more. Her vibe is glitter, glam, unicorns, outer space, flowers, aliens, fancy dresses, fine dining, tears on a Sunday afternoon, broken bottles, neon lights, and a bit of rock and roll light. Let's welcome Julia Wildstar to Kansas City Oasis.
Thank you so much for having me. I resonate so much with everything so far. I have not been here before, regrettably. I don't know why I haven't been here before, but yeah, I know some people have been here before. Heath Church is a buddy of mine. Love him. We're actually writing a song together right now, so keep an eye on. He's great to write with. But anyway, I prepared a few songs. I have 2 albums out, actually, already, but they were out before I changed my name. I was Julia Reynolds, and I just changed it to Wildstar at the beginning of the year. So I'm working on my first album under that name. So, in a way, it's kind of my first album, even though it's not. And I have a couple songs I'm going to start with from that album. The first one is probably going to be the second one I release, and it is called Freeway. Now, I'll keep this short and sweet. I kind of ramble sometimes when I've had my coffee, which I did. But Freeway is basically, when I was a kid, I was an only child, I was homeschooled, and I grew up in the church. I was very, very bullied. My home life was great. My mom is here, love her. But I was very, very bullied at church, youth group, all that stuff. And I was in other groups, and for some reason, I was always the target everywhere I went. I'm like, come on, man. What, do I have a target on my head? Nonetheless, turns out I'm an artist. That might be why. But I always looked at the city, because I lived out in the sticks. And I looked at the city in my naivety as almost a perfect place where everyone loved each other and everyone was equal and accepting. And I just had this vision in my head of that. And as I got older, I'm like, okay, that's not exactly how it is. But I was right about one thing, which is I did find my community. A lot of them, at least the beginning of finding my community in the city. It taught me how. There's more people here. You got more options. And, found more people that I really resonated with. And then I realized, okay, it's not really about where you are. It's more so about you and the people around you. So that's kind of what this song is about. It's a metaphor. It's called Freeway because I'm actually talking about I-35. But it's really about that freedom you find when you have the right people and just longing to get in your car and just drive somewhere where there are those people. So that is the song. I hope you enjoy.
Is this not what you expected from me? I'm a wild child rebel, I just wanna be free. And I don't care what you say, my teenage angst is coming in at 23. Oh, better late than never, I'll be this way forever. Tear it all down, or bust out of this town. I'll fly down the freeway of life. Oh, you really got me going rogue. Can try to catch me, you're too slow. I'm living in the future going rogue. Yeah, I'm a woman, yeah, I'm kinda young. What's it to you? I won't be told who I am or what I can do. Oh, society tells you everything, but most of it's not true. You don't know me and you can't control me. Tear it all down, or bust out of this town. I'll fly down the freeway of life. Oh, you really got me going rogue. You can try to catch me, you're too slow. I'm living in the future going rogue. You really got me going rogue. You can try to catch me, you're too slow. I'm living in the future, baby, going rogue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So, and I for context, that's gonna have a bunch of like crazy synths and like I'm gonna dance around in glitter and stuff. little different than what I'm doing today. But you know, I always love taking, because I'm a producer and I do like electro pop usually. And so it's like really fun to take those songs and bring them here, because it's really, in the end, even though I focus a lot on the tracks themselves, the lyrics are a big thing for me personally. So getting to just focus on that here at the piano is, oh, I love doing that. I love doing that. So this next song, it's a very hard one for me to write, and it was a very healing one for me to write. And I'm still like, should I like say this? I don't know. But it's very, very inspired by purity culture. If any of you have ever dealt with that, you understand. I'm gonna take my Invisalign out real quick. It's easier to sing without it. Yeah. Ignore me. All right. Anywho, that is kind of the basis to this song. It's very inspired by, trying to get out of that so that, I can feel good about my body and other people and, being a person. So, this song is called Pleasure, and it's all about accepting that as an emotion, basically. It's a little rebellious. It's but it's deep too. It's supposed to be anyway. And that's going to be the first single I release off the next album. I have the music video filmed. We're just editing it right now.
Met someone quite like you, making me wanna do things I never thought I'd do. But you know exactly what you do to me. You have strategy, pulling all of the right strings. You seem to know a lot of things, and I'm sure you have experience. I want you to enlighten me, 'cause I'm in a bit of culture shock. Na 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 da 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 da. Take me, take me to your world of pleasure. Take me to your dimension of forbidden fantasies. I want to feel your presence all around me. There's no going back now. I've already seen the light, and if it's wrong to feel this way, well, I don't ever wanna be right. Take me, oh, take me to your world of pleasure. Oh, it's a fight between dark and light, but I don't really mind. Just hold me close and don't let go, and I'll stay with you all night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Wow. I'm not going to lie, man, I was not expecting that. Those two songs just hit me right here. We're going to talk more later, man. I relate to those for sure. Okay, more presentation and more music, so make sure y'all are here for that. We got some birthdays this week. First off, Mr. Chuck Baugh has been, where's Chuck? I saw him this morning, right here in front of me. I'm going to focus on this one for a hot second. Chuck has been rotating this earth for 70 rotations now. What's that? You've been rotating the earth? You're not a world traveler? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Chuck? All right, fine, Mr. Science. Okay, he's a science teacher. Sorry, inside joke. Okay, so that's on the 24th, which is tomorrow, for those of you keeping track. David Avila, where are you, David? I know. Huh? Right here. He's on the 25th. Next week, if you're wondering, why are we doing 2 weeks in a row? I'll tell you in a second. Judy Bishop. Yes, she's a firecracker. I don't see Judy today. Not here today. She's July 4th, so we will be celebrating Judy with fireworks on purpose. You're welcome, Judy. As well as Daniel. Daniel's far away, but we love Daniel. Okay, Thursday dance classes are they didn't want me to talk about classes, sorry about it. Our last class is on Thursday, so you better be there. It was the last one. We're teaching bachata. We had a good time last Thursday, the last time. All right, we've got Julius Caesar on Wednesday. So we are going to meet Casey Oasis Heart of America Shakespeare Festival. It's somewhere, we'll look it up. It's in a park somewhere. It's not on this slide, I don't know. Gates open at 6. We will plan to meet there around 7, and the show starts at 8. So look for a small sign that says Oasis, but if you haven't had your Shakespeare on in a little while, it's your chance. So Wednesday night, Wednesday, be there at 7. Next door to the Nelson. Thanks, Jason. Look at you knowing things. All right, for those of you who want to not watch Shakespeare but do yard work when you're outside, that sounds like more fun, doesn't it? On Saturday, we are going to meet right here, right outside, because we got our mulch delivery this morning. How exciting is that? 8 o'clock till 12 noon, so don't show up at nighttime. We're going to be here in the morning time before it gets too hot. And we'll have coffee, lemonade, breakfast snacks, and water. I'm not telling you what the breakfast snacks are because I haven't decided yet. Depends on what I'm in the mood for, and we will see you there. Bring your gloves. If you have lawn tools, bring those too, whatever you want. If you're not in the mood for that, you can go hang out with our besties over in the West End Connection. We will be tabling there, which means we're going to tell all the lovely folks at the Pride Parade and the Pride Festival at Independence about Oasis. So you can say hello to our friends at the Oasis table and enjoy the Pride Parade. We do we need more volunteers? How many more do we want? If we had 3 more volunteers for that, that'd be phenomenal. David, please wave your hand right here. The amazing David. You can see him if you want to volunteer for that. You can do both, by the way. It's a big day, but they are staggered, so it's possible. And if you see our amazing volunteers in the yonder foyer area, they're setting up posters for our blood drive, which is next Sunday, which is why we did 2 birthdays at the same time. See how that all comes together? So we have our 5th Sunday next week on June 30th. And we are back. We did such a good job last time we had our 5th Sunday. They're like, oh my gosh, can we do this again? Yes, we can. So come, give us your blood, give us your socialness. If you don't want to give us your blood, that's fine. Just be here. Just be happy and smiling, or not, and just be here anyway. We'll make you happy. Haha. Try not. Okay. They wouldn't take my blood. Same. There is a QR code. Please register if you can. That does help us a lot. But we had people off this don't register. He's saying no, don't, yes, register. Okay, sorry, I was confused. Yeah, register here. Oh, guy is in the back, and he has a thingy that you can register right now when I'm done talking. But I got you. Okay, got it. Other fun things you can do online, you can register for our private page. Megan's doing an amazing job taking pictures today. Thank you, Megan. If you would like to see all of those photos, you're like, how do I do that? You have to be on the private page. You're welcome. You can see anyone with a yellow lanyard like this, or most of our people with these little sparkly lanyards, they're on the inside scoop. They know what's up. So you must be added by an existing member. If you don't know how to do that, you have to go talk to them about it. Yes, sorry, it's a club. You have to join the club. There's more details. Okay. Remember how we ask you guys to volunteer for stuff all the time? This is a volunteer rug organization. It doesn't work without you. I'm not lying. This is not Simba. It's for real. Get it? There's my joke. I didn't land it very well. It's cool. All right. First slide. Social committee. Sarah, Julie, Sally, Mark. Service project committee, Julie Mashler, she just sets them up. So that means she calls Guy to be like, hey, can we donate blood? Yes. Sunday speaker committee, Roger and Denise. So Neil is here. Neil, where are you? Oh, he's in the back. So Denise and Roger are the ones who set all of that up. Landscaping committee, Julie and Julie. Team Julie, see, we talked about that. Denise, Susan, and Sally are on the leads for that. Our care response team, Julie, Sally, Denise, and Maureen. Child care committee, Julie, Molly, and Justine. Greeter committee, Russ, Sarah, Ron, Leisha, Marilee, Denise, Bill, Jean, Sally, Mark, and our amazing AD team that we could not have our broadcast sound or music without, by the way. David, Terry, JJ, Jason, Doug, Storm, Will, Amy, and Andy. And MCs, Julie, Kyle, Gary, Mark, and Jason. Committee moments, community moments, sorry. And volunteer coordinator, David Krampus and Kat Bridges. So they're the ones who send you like, hey, we don't have anybody to get coffee. That's those people. And our community outreach, Sarah and Lisa. Building use and rentals, this is still in the works, so we could use more people for this. Julie and Sarah and our board. So I'm gonna go backwards just a little bit because Jason's gonna yell at me in just a second if I don't, okay? Just hang on a sec. Okay, so this was our first slide. If you have more ideas for service projects, the star is your board member in charge of this stuff, okay? You go talk to that board member and say, I have an idea for you. And then they will talk to your committee about said idea, okay? Maureen, by the way, is on here for our care, which one was it? Care response team? Yeah, okay. She's the one who collects all those little bottles for Micah Ministries. So just as a reminder, bring your bottles in for Maureen. She gives those out with the care response teams for either Micah or we give them out as part of our care response packages. Amy, with our AV team, could really use an extra set of hands to rotate through the video recorder mode. I'm sure it's super fun to stand there every single week like she diligently does. But if somebody else wants a turn, she will train you. That's a lot of volunteers, but guess what? We still need more. You probably heard a lot of same names repeated a bunch of times, didn't you? Yes, I see all of your heads nodding up and down. Yeah, we don't have 40 people with the same names, guys. I wish we did. That would be super fun and confusing. But lots of those same names were in the same committees. So we need all of your names on this board next time I announce them. We have super awesome shirts for all of those people on this board. If someone was wearing them, I would show them to you, but maybe later. Maybe later. They're somewhere. I'll bring them to you later. Let's see what else. Sign of Genius. You guys kind of know about that. That's it. No more talking, Julie. How about let's let Justin talk? I need some water. Justin is going to do a community moment for us. You're like, what is a community moment? I don't know, I'm new. I'm going to tell you. Community moment is an opportunity to share something about yourself, something about an experience, something you're good at, something you want us to know about you, whatever it is. You let me know. I'm in charge of that. I'm on the committee. I earned a white shirt. Yes. So Justin is going to come up. And his descriptors are curious, skeptical, and kind. Justin, take us away.
Thank you. All right. So what I wanted to present about today is a subject that's pretty important to me, coping with anxiety and depression. And based on the statistics, I guarantee every person in this room, if they haven't experienced it, is very close to somebody who has. But I am a massage therapist. And one of the things that I think is incredibly helpful for these things that people deal with is healthy touch. So that's what I'm going to be presenting about today. I'm an avid reader. I've got 2 or 3 full bookshelves of real books, and then an untold number of Kindle books and Audible books. And I like a lot of different subjects. Mark can attest to that from a conversation earlier. But for this short community moment, let's get right into the subject at hand. So anxiety, the definition from the APA is an emotion characterized by apprehension and somatic symptoms, in other words, body symptoms of tension, which are usually caused by an anticipation of impending danger or doom. Now, this is directly relevant to massage therapy because the muscles become more tense, the breathing is faster, and the heart beats more rapidly, much like mine right now. Anxiety is distinct from fear. Fear is a short-term response to a specific danger that's actually in the environment with you. But anxiety is generally future-oriented, and it's a little more diffuse. It's kind of generalized to, like, you can't put your finger on exactly what you're worried about, but you just know it's going to happen. Depression is a very negative affect. It can be fairly mild or it can be very extreme. But the biggest factor is that it interferes with your daily life. It can affect the way that you eat, the way that you sleep, your levels of energy, and your sense of being motivated. And it can also affect your concentration and your ability to make decisions. That constellation of things also leads to people sometimes withdrawing from social activities, which exacerbates the problem, as you could probably guess. I couldn't find a perfect definition of massage therapy from a nice source, so I kind of cobbled a few things together, and I'll talk about a few points here as well. The consensual application of physical touch to the soft tissues of the body, as opposed to the bones like a chiropractor. And also, I think it includes an element of it should be for a therapeutic purpose or to rehabilitate some sort of injury. One thing that's kind of the old school massage people that would just like dig into knots, they would be pretty painful sessions. You'd leave on endorphins and you'd think you felt amazing, and the next day you feel kind of sick and you have to drink a lot of water. There's actually more research now that massage therapy has come more into the mainstream, into more of the medical and scientific realm that shows that that's counterproductive. So I also think that massage should be safe and pain-free. But I don't exclude interpersonal contact from the definition of massage therapy. Some people do. They think it's just a professional application of touch. But I think that if you have a person that you like and trust and they're going to help you feel some relief in some way, I would consider that therapeutic, so therefore therapy. So the consequences of anxiety and depression, the statistics are pretty staggering, especially for anxiety. In 2019, the CDC actually found that 19% of women and 12% of men who had been surveyed within the 2 weeks prior to them being asked, they had experienced symptoms of that. For depression, some of these numbers look a little low in my opinion, but the rates stated there are actually higher among females, younger people, and people of multiple races. So how can massage therapy help with this? One of the primary things that happens when you get a massage is the muscles become more relaxed, so you reduce physical tension. You also are drawing attention to the body, and the reason that's important is if you've ever heard of a book called The Body Keeps the Score, it's by Bessel van der Kolk. He talks about how people who've experienced trauma and therefore have some things like anxiety, depression, and other stuff, they can lose that sense of being aware of what's happening. You know, you'll have a strong sensation, but you don't really notice where or what it is. You just feel a general dis-ease, just kind of an uneasiness. And by healthy touch, bringing your attention back to your body, it helps you become more aware and be more in the present moment instead of somewhere in the past or somewhere in the future. Sleep has also been shown to be improved quite a bit by massage therapy. If you're interested in getting better sleep, you can look on YouTube for talks by Matthew Walker. He's one of the premier researchers with a sleep lab. I think it's at Stanford. And he also has a book called Why We Sleep. So those are the physiological ways that it helps, but there's also some psychological effects from massage therapy. And the primary one is switching out of fight or flight, which is the sympathetic nervous system, and shifting down into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest mode. That's what the PNS versus SNS is on there. So that shift can take as little as a few minutes, but certainly by the end of a full massage therapy session, you just feel very chilled out, very relaxed. Some people feel almost like a euphoria and a brain fog whenever they get back up from the session. But there's also hormonal changes that take place, and these cascading effects of the hormones are the ones that really drive the psychological effects. Things are released like oxytocin, that's directly from human contact. Been a lot of studies done with attachment theory, which talks about in developmental ages how important it is for young kids to feel safe and secure and loved and receive physical touch. There's also serotonin, endorphins, and dopamine that are released that affect your sense of well-being. So besides going and getting a massage, I did want to cover a couple of other things that I found as I've read different books, and I thought they'd be helpful for you. So the most interesting one, in my opinion, is if you've ever tried meditation or a mindfulness practice that was inwardly focused, if you struggle with anxiety or depression, it probably didn't work for you. Is that true for anybody? Yeah. So there's been more research, and they've found that there's exteroception, which is the perception outside of your own skin, and interoception, which is internal. And when you ruminate with depression or you catastrophize with anxiety, you are literally stuck inside of your head. So another mindfulness exercise that's outwardly focused that's really interesting is the 5 senses. So you sit eyes open instead of closed. You look around. You look at what you see, what you smell, what you hear. And by focusing outwardly on the senses, that meditation practice can be quite beneficial for people with anxiety and depression. There's also mindful walking, which combines 2 of these things, the mindfulness and the exercise. Essentially, you're just taking a walk, but instead of letting yourself get swept away with thinking the whole time, you try to focus outwardly, look around, smell, sense the shoes underneath your feet or your bare feet on the ground. And if you want to know more about the effects of exercise for mental health, there's a guy named Eric Kandel. You can find some interesting short videos on YouTube. And then sleep, Matthew Walker again, I put that on the slide. But the last one that I want to talk about is therapy, because even though the stigma around mental health and around therapy is getting significantly better, there are a couple of things that, especially for this community, are important. evidence-based practices, things that have been shown with bigger meta-studies to actually be effective. And one that I don't hear people talk about a lot is acceptance and commitment therapy. Most people have heard of cognitive behavioral therapy. This is primarily spotting distortions in your thoughts. There's different categories of ways that we think wrong-headed, I guess is one way to put it. But acceptance and commitment therapy actually goes a step beyond that. So instead of just looking and labeling, which can be helpful, ACT also has you figure out what your values are and use mindfulness to help let go of those negative thought patterns. And the commitment part of that is when you have a value of being there for people, or you have a value of volunteering, if you're feeling stuck in your head and you are super anxious, feeling socially uncomfortable, and you just don't want to go to the thing, you can make your mind up about that, and you can still choose to stay home. But if you reframe it as, what would I do if I wasn't busy thinking these thoughts? What is important to me? What are my values? And you decide to take that action, even if you continue to feel anxious, you feel, uncomfortable, that creates kind of a positive feedback loop of acting on your values. And I think that's really important. A couple of resources. You've probably heard of the APA, American Psychological Association. Another one that has some good stuff on their website was the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. And then one of my favorite long format podcasts, whenever he has guests on, they're usually pretty long podcasts, but they're incredibly fascinating because Andrew Huberman of Huberman Lab Podcast has experts that are actually doing real research, clinical-based, evidence-based type stuff. And when he does his presentation style ones without a guest, where he's just put together a lot of information, he is a researcher and professor at Stanford. And even though this works separate from what he does at Stanford, he's very systematic. He brings everything together. If something is kind of maybe evidence-based, but it's been shown to be helpful, he'll declare that. And then everything else that he presents, he cites the sources, primary journals, peer-reviewed, that kind of stuff. So I find that YouTube channel to be incredibly helpful. And I believe that is it. So thank you for letting me share that with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin, so much. And Justin and I talked before. He said he's more than willing to answer any questions. If you guys have questions during the coffee break, or let him grab a quick drink and then attack. So gently. There's only one of him. We need him for later. Don't hurt his hands for sure. We are going to have that coffee break, 20 minutes. I'm going to go let kiddos know that we are having coffee as well. Don't feed caffeine to the children. All right. We'll see you guys back in 20 minutes. Okay, guys, we're gonna start in 15 seconds. I've already got the thumbs up. We're live. Okay, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Come sit in your seat. Okay, I hope you are well beveraged and caffeinated and t-shirted. Once Storm is done with all the internet-y things, he's gonna come be my model to show you the amazing volunteer t-shirts we have for the amazing list of humans I read to you. Okay, down the catwalk. He's down the catwalk with his t-shirt. He comes down the catwalk. Yes, yes. Kansas City Oasis, Amy had the amazing idea. She's like, I don't do well with white. Maybe I should tie-dye it. I'm like, now we're thinking. So if you happen to see some people with tie-dye shirts, it was Amy's fault. You're welcome. Speaking of fun things, Miss Julia, we are ready for some more music, darling.
I had way too much coffee. All right, so this next song is it's an older song. I wrote it, gosh, let me think, probably when I was 16 years old, give or take. But I used to play it with a band, and then I played it by myself a lot. It was actually written at the piano for piano, unlike my other songs. And I haven't recorded it yet, and I need to. So I'm planning on getting it recorded fairly soon, who knows when, and then I'll release it. I'm really bad about that. I write a bunch of songs and then I just don't record them, and then I'm like, well, now I have like 40 songs to go record now because they stack up like paperwork. The song is about people getting what they deserve. It's called Karma. And I did write it before Taylor Swift wrote hers. By the way, I did not steal her idea. She stole mine. I'm kidding, she didn't, but yeah.
How does it make you feel to be in a hard place you've never been? How does it make you feel to be in my shoes where I was back then, when they knocked me down to the ground where you are now? How does it make you feel now that you understand? Hey, where you been? Haven't seen you since I was a kid, but I still remember so clearly how you were to me. Don't you know that karma ain't a simple man? He don't forgive and he don't forget. You are no exception to this. How does it make you feel to be in a hard place you've never been? How does it make you feel to be in my shoes where I was back then, when they knocked me down to the ground where you are now? How does it make you feel now that you understand? I thought about revenge, but I'm too big of a person for that. I just smile and stand back in line, and oh, karma catches up in time. Oh, 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 oh. How does it make you feel to be in a hard place you've never been? How does it make you feel to be in my shoes where I was back then, when they knocked me down to the ground where you are now? How does it make you feel now that you understand? I rose up from the darkness you put me through. I wish I could wish only the best for you, but I just can't after everything you did. I may forgive, but I'll never forget. Oh, does it make you feel? How does it make you feel to be in a hard place you've never been? How does it make you feel to be in my shoes where I was back then when you they knocked me down to the ground where you are now? How does it make you? How does it make you feel? Oh, how does it make you feel? I hope something happens to teach you a lesson, to be a better person, 'cause you're not so good at that. You may have a heart of gold, and somewhere in there you must have a soul. It's just not showing very well. Karma will find you, I know. So I'll leave you alone.
Thank you.
Wow. Dear every bully ever, please watch the attached video. Send. Great job, Julie. All right. Whew. I want to think about how I feel for a little while. But later, because we've got a speaker, Neil's going to come talk to us. We do have a disclaimer. So I'm going to read that to you. Our program is designed to generate conversation and engage our powers of reason, not as a forum to start debates. The following presentation has been prepared by our speaker and not by KC Oasis. Please respect the views of our speaker, and if you have any questions, Neil has agreed to have a Q&A portion that will follow. Okay, and without any ado, Mr. Neil Engel. I will let him introduce himself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Julie, what beautiful music. Thank you so much. That was just wonderful. It is an honor to be here today. I know many of you from working at Micah Ministries on Monday nights, and when Denise contacted me, she said, I want you to come be the speaker because I hear you're a model speaker. And I was feeling really good about that, and then I went home and read the definition of a model that says a small imitation of the real thing. So, no, she didn't really say that. But I've appreciated your support of Micah and those of you who volunteer and the sense of community that I see you experiencing as Oasis, not only here, but at Micah. I want to share with you some personal thoughts and reflections, but I want to do so by kind of backing into them. I want to begin by addressing one of the questions that Denise and I talked about that might be helpful to address this morning. The question being, why do so many Christians support Donald Trump? Now, if you're a Trump supporter, bear with me. But I want to confess up front that I don't have a T-shirt that says Jesus is my Savior and Trump is my president. I don't have that. I also don't have a T-shirt that says God, guns, and Trump. But I think there are several reasons why some Christians support Trump. I think abortion, especially in the 2016 election, was a key factor. He delivers for them and they tolerate him. It's very transactional. It's not about relationships. It's about what he can do for us, and they're willing to kind of hold their noses and vote and get what they want regarding a single issue like abortion. The second reason, and I just read of this a few days ago, is an appeal to his masculinity. Well, that's what the article said. That Trump's masculinity is so masculine that his sexual appetite cannot be contained, and that appeals to some people, not only men but women, and that he is power personified, that he is a warrior, and that may be one of the appeals. I also think there's support for him because of his support of Israel and his moving the embassy to Jerusalem several years ago. Of course, Christians want to preserve the historical aspect of the Holy Lands, but also there's a belief among some Christians that the survival of Israel is critical to the return of Christ, and it's almost a Christian Zionism where God has promised the Jewish people the homeland there, and that Christians need to support that in any way. There's even a segment of Christians and Jews who draw parallels between Trump and King Cyrus, who lived in the 6th century BCE. He was the Persian king who conquered Babylon and ended the captivity of the Hebrew people when they were taken over. Listen to these words from Netanyahu thanking Trump for moving the embassy to Jerusalem. He said, "We remember the proclamation of the great King Cyrus the Great. 2,500 years ago, he proclaimed that the Jewish exiles in Babylon can come back and rebuild our temple in Jerusalem. And we remember how President Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Mr. President, this will be remembered by our people throughout the ages." There is an organization in Israel that has produced temple coins, and I apologize, I should have had this on a slide, but I do have a copy you can pass around both sides of the room. There are 2 coins in each of the stapled together there. One is a coin of King Cyrus and Trump side by side, and the other is a picture of Netanyahu and Trump with the words, "War of the sons of light against the sons of darkness." And the description of that coin is this: in an era when the forces of good and evil seem ever more clearly defined, the Trump good versus evil coin emerges as a potent symbol of the timeless battle depicted in the prophecy of the sons of light versus the sons of darkness. This coin celebrates President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu as modern-day embodiments of the sons of light, positioned against contemporary manifestations of darkness. It's not merely a token, but a testament to the enduring struggle between light and dark. So, for some Christians, supporting Trump is supporting King Cyrus and the whole emphasis upon the king as God's anointed one. Now, for some evangelicals, they don't need Trump to be a person of faith or even a good person. They feel, some do, as if he has their back, that maybe they believe he's not especially religious himself, but that he stands up for people with religious beliefs like they have. They're not, and Trump has said, they're not after me, they're after you, and I'm just standing in the way. I think for many Christians who support Trump, it's not about Christianity at all. It's about their own biases. They want to be on the side of the light and not the darkness. They want to be on the side of God and being right. And they resonate with somehow the idea that Christians are persecuted in our country and that they have someone to blame. And Trump has said that Democrats are against your religion. One of my biggest objections to Trump, not just as a Christian, but as a citizen, is that I think he appeals to the worst in humanity. not the better angels of our nature that Lincoln referred to in his first inaugural address. To me, and this, again, I represent only myself, no church. To me, Trump doesn't inspire, he incites. And I, as a person of faith and as a citizen, object to his lying, his division, his hatred, his scapegoating, his disrespect and denigration of anyone that's not him, whether it's women or minorities or persons with disabilities or immigrants. I object to his isolationism and his Christian nationalism and his use of the Bible for photo ops and for fundraising. I'm an old movie buff, and there's a movie that was made in 1964 called The Best Man, and it stars Henry Fonda and Cliff Robertson. They are two men vying for the nomination of their party to run for president. And Cliff Robertson represents a person who will do anything to win it at all costs. And at the end of the movie, Fonda withdraws and gives his support to a third candidate to keep Robertson from getting the nomination. And Robertson can't understand why he does that. And Fonda says to him, "You have no sense of responsibility toward anybody or anything. That is a tragedy in a man, and it is a disaster in a president." And to me, that speaks to our current situation. And it frightens me and saddens me to think what another Trump presidency might be like. So one question I'd like us to, at the end, do we deserve the kind of leadership we elect? I just want you to think about that. I have a difficult time reconciling support of Trump and living out a healthy Christian faith. Now, I'm refused to say that those who support Trump aren't Christian, but it's certainly not the type of Christianity that I would embrace. During the 2020 election, I had a high school friend of mine, accuse me of hating Trump. And I told her that my hatred is not of him as it is what he has done to the soul and the spirit of our country and political discourse, and that it seems to resonate with 40% of the American people. Now, again, I would want your take on another question. Did Trump build the fire, or did he just light the match? Is he the source of our polarization, or is he just the symptom? Has Trump made us sicker, or did Trump just pull off the Band-Aid on the scab? So I stand opposed to Trump and most of evangelical Christianity that support him. One of the questions I was asked to consider this morning was, what do you do with a Christian who doesn't practice what they preach? Well, I mean, I think we all of us, regardless of our belief system, fall short of what we want the way we live. But I'm more concerned about some Christians who practice what they preach. And I had a seminary professor who said, when somebody says, well, the devil made me do it, it's probably just mischief. But if they say, God told me to do it, or God made me do it, then we're talking real trouble. So I certainly don't support that type of Christianity. So how did I get to this point? I was raised in the church, participated in youth groups at Countryside Christian Church in Mission. But the congregation that I was participating in had a very outreach-minded perspective and social justice. And in high school, I helped form a nonviolent study group at Shawnee Mission East when I was in high school. When I went to college, I wanted to study religion as an academic pursuit, but then felt the call to ministry later on and went to seminary and have served congregations in Wyoming and Missouri and Kansas. Have my views of non-Christians changed? Well, I found that often in the absence of information, we tend to fill in the negative. The only knowledge of atheists I had growing up was the feared Madalyn Murray O'Hair, and she was certainly portrayed in a negative light, not only in culture and in the church, but working with many of you at Micah has been a very positive experience. I didn't know much about Jewish people when I was in grade school, but I had one of my best friends was a young man named Sheldon. He was Jewish, and we would go bowling on Saturday mornings because he was Orthodox. I had to carry the money. And I got to learn about Judaism from him. I went to his bar mitzvah and did some other things with him. And as an adult, again at Micah, it's been an opportunity for me to get acquainted with persons from different faith backgrounds and belief systems. And it's been a good time to get to know my Jewish brothers and sisters, and many of you. At the congregation that I just retired from, we thought it was important to begin learning about Islam. And so we took advantage of the invitation from the Dialogue Institute here in Kansas City to host the iftar dinners during Ramadan. And I know some of you have done that. And that was a way, again, to break down the barriers, to get acquainted as people, to learn about each other's traditions. And I think that was a very helpful experience. My view of non-Christians or non-believers has changed. I think I'm obviously less suspicious, and I've gained an appreciation for what we can teach each other and how we can serve together. I can echo much of your philosophy that you share as Oasis. People are more important than beliefs. Henry Nouwen, a spiritualist, said, "For Jesus and his followers, there are no countries to be conquered, no ideologies to be imposed, no people to be dominated. There are only children, women, and men to be loved." And I've tried to have that perspective in my ministry. I also believe that human hands do solve human problems. And I think that Christians or non-believers, all of us, have a responsibility to use the gifts and resources that we have to address the problems that face us. And even when we believers say, "How long, O Lord, are you going to let this continue?" I think we're being asked the same question of the divine. How long are you people going to let this continue? So we don't need to wait for divine intervention. We do have the ability to respond to human need. I also affirm that meaning can come from making a difference, regardless of our belief systems. I think we're here not to be served, but to serve. To whom much is given, I believe much is required. To those of us who have resources, we've got to utilize those for the common good and the broader human family. And I've tried in my ministry to be an example of servant leadership. I also believe in being accepted and being accepting. At the congregation from which I just retired, we had gone through a process just before I left of being an open and affirming congregation, of being explicit in our welcome to the LGBTQ plus community. At that congregation, we say that all are welcome and that all means all, and that all, regardless of their beliefs, are encouraged to participate in congregational life. Now, while congregations in my denomination, the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, vary theologically and politically in their views from congregation to congregation, from very conservative to very liberal, my personal perspective has always been pretty much on the liberal or more progressive, more so than the majority of the people that I have served. And I don't know if that puts me in a good position or a better position to be a witness to my views. I've been less concerned with the sweet by and by and more concerned with the here and now and having an active faith. I've tried to live in and out of what one writer calls the ethic of Christianity, a way of living based on love and compassion, reconciliation and forgiveness, inclusion and acceptance, peace and nonviolence, and generosity and justice. That author also says, without that ethic, Christians can become rigid and intolerant, self-righteous and condemning, hate-filled and violent, selfish and unjust, the worst that humanity has to offer. In light of the Louisiana law regarding the posting of 10 Commandments this week, I want to state that I strongly believe in the separation of church and state, but I don't believe that means a Christian needs to be, or any of us need to be separated from their politics. I think there's a wall that separates church and state, but I think there's a window in that wall in that each side can keep each other accountable. The church can speak to the political side can comment and regulate those in the faith communities. We are citizens and not subjects, and so I think we have a responsibility to address issues that affect humanity. One of my heroes in my life was a pastor named William Sloane Coffin, who was a minister at Riverside Church in New York City. And he said that there are 3 kinds of patriots. 2 of them are bad and 1 of them are good. The bad are uncritical lovers and loveless critics. The good patriots carry on a lover's quarrel with their country. In keeping with that kind of lover's quarrel notion, and because I think clergy have a role not only as pastor but as prophet, as caring for the people as well as speaking truth to power, I've had occasions over the years when I've either publicly demonstrated or spoken out from the pulpit regarding social or political issues. When we lived in Wyoming, we had the white train come through Sheridan that had the nuclear weapons that were going to the West Coast to be fitted on the Trident submarines. And I participated in a demonstration for that. I've demonstrated regarding our Central American policy during the 80s. I've called out Trump for his Bible photo op stunt and for his part in inciting the January 6th activity and for his lying and his treatment of immigrants. I think our faith or our belief system is always personal, but it's never private. That we can't be, my spirituality can't be personally redemptive unless it's socially responsible. There always has to be that personal as well as that social dimension. One person said, a faith that doesn't get beyond the garden gate is a monument to irrelevance. So I think, again, that personal elements aspect, but also it has to reflect on the social order. I want to stop there and see if there are any comments or discussion about anything I've raised.
Okay, I'm gonna modify that and say we are accepting questions. Questions end in a question mark. If you have a comment or a discussion item, we would like to invite you to talk to Neil about that during lunch after the programming. So if you have a question, raise your hand and I will bring you the microphone. Come over here first. We do want to make sure your voice is on the microphone.
So, hi, Neil.
Hi.
So, has there been any feedback from other people? Have you had any issues with other pastors that are not as liberal as you that have you had any problems with that?
Yeah, in some ministerial meetings, we've had discussions, especially during when the pandemic started, and those who wanted to continue meeting and buck the mask mandate. And it comes up sometimes when we talk about going to demonstrations or that sort of thing, but we try not to let it get in the way of our collegiality. But yeah, it's across the board. Yeah.
Okay, one more question here.
I was wondering, as a liberal pastor, how would you approach like controversial social issues within your congregation?
That's a great question. I've had to do that. I try to do a couple of things. Well, first, I think folk will give me more latitude if they know that I'm a good that I care for them and love them. I mean, if I've been to the hospital to see them and that sort of thing, they're going to give me a little more license from the pulpit, I think. I try to say, you know, this is how I view it. If you think I'm wrong, you tell me during the coffee hour, and we'll talk about it. Let's go out. And I say, you know, this may be painful for you to hear. It's painful for me to say, but I'm called to say it. And as long as I don't say that I try not to say that I'm on God's side, so that if they disagree, then somehow they're not on God's side. You know, I hope that makes sense. I just try to do it in a pastoral way, but sometimes you just have to say, this is what I'm being called to say, not only to speak truth to power, but to say among the church folk.
Okay, one last question.
Hi, Neil. I wanted to, before I say my question, it was nice getting to know you at Micah, and you helped me learn about not being a little bit scared of Christians.
Good.
So, as a very independent female, do you have any problem with the way the Bible sometimes talks about female roles?
I do. I mean, you have to set that in cultural context, but you also have to remember the people that were around Jesus. I mean, the women are the first to talk about the resurrection. Many women were involved in ministry back then. So I hear it more culturally than I do, but I'm proud of our denomination, the disciples, that we have ordained women for a long time and encouraged women's involvement in all aspects of ministry. So.
Okay, perfect. So Neil is going to stick around after our programming. If you guys want to ask questions, more one-on-one questions, or a little bit of a discussion, he will be around and available to you one-on-one. And then we always invite everybody to our lunch. We have a new location I'll tell you about in just a minute. And if Neil is available, he can join us. If not, you guys can discuss amongst yourselves as well. So Neil, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks.
We appreciate all your insight. Okay, perfect. So we have a little bit more of our programming today. Lots of things to think about. Okay. All right, we're going to have one more set of music coming from Miss Julia. And as Julie gets prepped in her piano seat, we did chat a little bit. We have lots of social media places to follow Julie. She did tell me she's taking a little bit of a break from performing this summer. So do you want to share with us a little bit about your break?
So, long story short, I'm working on an album. And working on an album and performing a lot is kind of rough to do at the same time.
There's
a lot on my plate.
too many things to juggle, I'd imagine.
So
Good.
I just wanted to focus more on the album. So I'm focusing on the album right now. It's called, the working title is Quantum Theater.
Okay.
And it should be coming out eventually. I don't want to give a specific time because I don't know.
Okay.
But
when it's
still,
out, though, you're going to tell us via Jason,
Yes.
and then we can flock to the stands.
I would love that.
Okay, the physical or digital stands, I suppose, right?
Any of them.
Okay, when it's out, do you plan on doing like any sort of touring to, I don't know how that works, and I'm not the music business person, Jason's the music business. Do you plan to do any sort of like touring, even if it's just local, to be like, here's my new album, would you like me to play it for you?
Exactly what I'm planning on doing.
Okay, I thought so.
I'm going to
Okay.
announce it, of course, on my social medias, websites,
Follow her on
all of those
socials.
things. So please follow me so we can be friends.
Perfect, okay, love it. Please play for us again.
All right. So this last song I wanted to do because it's very, very special to me. It is the first song I ever wrote completed with the piano and everything. You know, I came up with random little snips, you know, in the car when I was a kid and all that. That does not count. I mean, it does, but not in this. This is the first actual full song with music that I wrote. It's called In My Dreams. I wrote it when I was 13, I believe. And I do still play it for some reason. Probably because I like it, and it makes me feel all nostalgic and fuzzy inside. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for having me again. I appreciate it, and thank you for the lovely sound. It sounds wonderful up here, you guys. It's so good. And I gotta say that that place and those people I was talking about at the beginning during Freeway, or about Freeway, that song, this feels like that to me today. That feels like those people I was looking for. So thank you for that. That means a lot.
Since you left me, my soul's been heavy. It's been hard not hearing your voice anymore. I kept trying to think of things to make me feel better some more. But that's just another closed door. I used to think about our future together and how someday our life would be better, the joining of two pure hearts. But somehow we ended up apart. So I want you to know that I am sending my love through each flower you see. With each flower be thinking of me. With each petal that's in view, know that I am thinking of you. And I know that it's hard, but we'll never part in my dreams. In my dreams. You're up to now. I thought we were perfect for each other. Oh, we were so great. Oh, our future looked so much better. Sending my love through each flower you see. With each flower be thinking of me. With each petal that's in view, know that I am thinking of you. And I know that it's hard, but we'll never part in my dreams. Oh, in my dreams. And every tear I shed for you, and every sleepless night was for you. Do you ever cry too? 'Cause every night I dream. Oh, yeah. Oh, sending my love through each flower you that it's hard, but we'll never part in my dreams. Oh, in my dreams. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I was busy clapping. I forgot to come upstairs. Happens sometimes. Okay. Lunch today, we are going, I think this is kind of a newish place for us. We are going to go to Brick River Cider Company. Have we been here before? Yes, we have. I didn't go. Sorry, I was doing stuff. So newish to me, but I have a meeting, so you guys are going to have to tell me how it was. We're going to continue the conversation. We had so many things to talk about, guys. So many things. We have music, we have massage, we have, what's the word, the L word? Liberal pastors. Sorry, words are hard, you know. Help me out here. Okay, so we're going to do that at lunch today, but before we do that, we're going to use our human hands to help clean up our building. It shouldn't take very long. There's lots of us. So please pitch in, make sure you pick up your cups in your little area, and we'll have it all ready for next week, where we're going to have our book club. This is our first meeting ever of our book club. I don't remember, the first book is going to be I'm Glad My Mom Died. If that doesn't sound a little controversial, I don't know what does, right? So if you want to sign up, please see Jeanette. Jeanette, can you wave your hand? Right here, Jeanette. She's a teacher. She knows what she's doing. Okay? I can vouch. I've heard her speak. It's going to be great. And I'm not going to read you about it. I will. Okay, fine. The book is a heartbreaking and hilarious memoir by Jeanette McCurd about her struggles as a former child actor and how she retook control of her life. There's the plug for the book. Oh, there's the book. Megan, can I have it? And I'll show it on camera too. Look at that. Thank you. See, look. Oh, this is for our people on Facebook. Can you zoom in, Amy? There we go. Thank you for being my assistant. Okay, improv 101, right here. Okay, and then also next week, after our blood drive, that's what's happening. 2 weeks from then, Penelope is coming to be our featured speaker about Journey to My Own Power, and our musician is Colby. Oh my gosh, I love Colby. He's coming back. So we will all be here for all of those amazing things, and until then, have a great week, and we'll see you for, what's the... blood drive. That's next Sunday. We're going to do the blood drive with Guy in the back. We're going to see you for yard work, garden party. That's what I named it. You're welcome. And we're going to do the Julius Caesar thing on Wednesday. So action-packed week for Oasis here. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great week. Bye.